last week was pretty stacked. So let's get into it. New comic book day reviews. This is for February 4th, new comic book day. First thing we're starting with, let's start with Absolute Superman, dude. So you guys know I loved Absolute Superman number 15, the issue that was before this. This one was really focused on like this battle between Kal and this Absolute Hawkman. The Absolute Hawkman has an interesting kind of origin story. He's kind of trying to show this Superman the ropes, and our Absolute Superman is totally just, taking him at his word. He's like, oh, this is a superhero guy, I'll trust him. At some point, though, they get into a fight, and that becomes such a fun part of the issue. We get some little bits of Lois Lane talking to Perry White. Lois Lane trying to get a job at the Daily Planet, but the Daily Planet is not as it once was. It's not like a well-respected institution anymore. But then back to the fight, as we see this version of Clark, he's using his cape that we know he has like cool. He can do different shapes and stuff with his cape. So another great example of that. And yeah, just like excellent artwork from Juan Ferrara. We know that Juan Ferrara, he was on the, like, look at this page, dude. Are you kidding me, man? I love when he does the cross sections like this. So yeah, Juan Ferrara was killing it on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles title. For a little bit there, he was doing just like variant covers, and we're like, dude, hopefully this guy gets on interiors at some point. And it's so fun having Jason Aaron and him team back up to do the interiors for Absolute Superman. Got some great bits at the end with this version of Brainiac and this version of Lex Luthor. What's going to be going on with that, we'll have to see in the next issue. But yeah, Absolute Superman is just, this arc has the potential to take this series into my second favorite Absolute title, which is kind of hard to do because Absolute Martian Manhunter and Absolute Wonder Woman have just been holding down the top 1 and 2 spots. It could be, though, that this Absolute Superman slides right into that second place spot. We'll have to see, man, but I've been loving it. Let's talk about Batman number 6. I believe this closes out the first arc, although the way that this first couple of issues have been structured from Matt Fraction, it's not like part 1, part 2 of an arc. It's kind of like you can just jump in and read every single issue is kind of like its own story. This one does follow up the last sort of date night issue, but if you didn't read that issue, you can still continue reading this. It's kind of an interesting way that Matt Fraction's going about it. But Damian made the mistake of calling Bruce dad in the last issue. Damian was dressed up as Robin. This lady, this doctor, was a witness to that. So that kind of throws a wrench in the whole thing of Batman trying to keep his identity hidden. But it's kind of funny because she doesn't think that Bruce is Batman. She just thinks that Bruce's kid is Damian and he's Robin, if that makes sense. So like Bruce just lets his kid be a Robin to whoever Batman actually is. That was a pretty fun, like, no one actually suspects Bruce as being Batman. It's so funny. The heart of this issue, besides like all the intrigue with Harvey Bullock and this sort of kid who caught Vandal Savage planting evidence, right? Like that's kind of like an underlying storyline. The real big meat of this issue, besides Batman going ham on some of these monster men, just for like some action, I'll mention this real quickly. Great uses of Batman's like gadgets. Matt Fraction has been injecting this into the series every now and then. We got like stuff like the Bat Reel. So just giving like some little stats on Batman and his equipment. Like over here we see the Bat Blades, right? So I love when Matt Fraction does that. He did that a lot in the Hawkeye run too, of course. But yeah, the kind of meat of what I wanted to get into here was just this moment between Tim Drake and Batman. Just like really heartfelt. I don't know. It's a very heartfelt moment here as Tim Drake is saying, hey, I think I need to leave. I think I need to, go out and experience my world away from you always being there for me and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, when Dick Grayson like left himself, right? And kind of wanted to go and experience his own kind of journey. So it looks like Tim Drake is sort of doing the same thing. Very heartfelt moment here. Even more heartfelt is because that Tim Drake and Damian haven't always had like the best relationship. I mean, if you guys read Grant Morrison's run and stuff like that, right? They've always been kind of contentious, but yeah, it kind of hurts for Damian too. He feels like he's losing a brother. So yeah, as someone who, I am a brother, right? So these moments kind of hit for me in this issue in particular. At the end, what the hell is going on? This doctor character is like rehabilitating or like taking care of the Joker or whatever. What is going on, man? So yeah, this is probably the best issue of the series so far. It's either this one or issue 1 was good too. And yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with that one. So yeah, very, one of the biggest surprises is how much I love this Batman series. So yeah, if you guys haven't been checking it out, back to the comic book reviews. Let's talk about Boss Battle, right? So everybody was confused, as was I, about how this would work. You got all of these characters. How are they going to get introduced into the story here? And I thought it was kind of smart the way they did it. So essentially, whatever, like the Time Trapper, or no, not Time Trapper, the World Forger dude, the people that are trying to fight against Darkseid, right? So these super powerful people are trying to help the heroes sort of manage all of this and, take the fight back to Darkseid and stop Darkseid from taking over everything, whatever. So his idea is to sort of reach into these other universes and sort of gather the energy that's created from doing that in order to channel it into like the remaining fighters of the DCKO tournament. That way they can be super powered and potentially win. So that's kind of what's going on. But we get the people thrown into the Mortal Kombat sort of universe. We got Wonder Woman trying to fight Red Sonja. Of course, Joker's hanging out with Annabelle. Batwoman's hanging out with Vampirella. Star Sapphire with Sabrina the Teenage Witch. The weirdest part was the Lex Luthor with the Samantha Strong part from obviously Beneath the Truths and Nobody Sees. That was a very interesting sort of subplot in this issue. Was just the fact that like Lex Luthor was almost just like totally outmatched by the Samantha. I thought it was pretty funny. And then we know that Superman went against Homelander. So anyways, all this is to say, right? You got all these like little fights. All this is to say that like the whole issue itself, it's like, okay, very, very much okay. It's sort of like a big spectacle, but not like the best issue of all time that I've ever read. It's more for the page turning moments like this, right? Like you get a cool splash page. It's all these characters that aren't DC characters fighting DC characters. I mean, that's just cool on its surface, but in terms of like the meat of the issue, like none of the other alternate universe characters got like enough time to shine. Even like they almost like you just turn the page and it's kind of over. Like it was sort of just the spectacle of it all. It was really fun sort of read, but not something that you need to like rush out and go by, you know what I mean? So the kind of what'll happen in issue number 4 of DCKO, it looks like they all got powered up and they're about to sort of start the fight with the absolute characters that we know is going to happen in issue 4, I think, right? So that's kind of all that happened. Once and for all, they're about to go into the fight. It's a cool lead up that it leads right into issue 4 of DCKO that's coming out this week. I will say that. Another DCKO tie-in with Knightfight issue 4. This closes out the little mini series, the DCKO mini that focused on Batman and what he was up to while the rest of the tournament's going on. The Heart of Apocalypse. Wait, Heart of Apocalypse? That was called? Yeah, the whatever, like the heart thing. That's actually, I might say it here. Yeah, the Heart of Apocalypse sort of sent Batman on this alternate quest to try to challenge him, test him, break him in a different way. And he's been universe hopping into different worlds that have been sort of perfected, or like different worlds that have different Batmans essentially, right? So we got the Jason Todd one, we got the Dick Grayson one. This one's really focused on the world of Damian. And he's got the world to a point where it doesn't even need a Batman. It's kind of like the idyllic, perfect world that Batman has always imagined, where he has a grandson. He's able to just hang out and just, experience life with his loved ones. And it turns into this thing where like, Batman almost wants to stay for the whole, for the rest of his life or whatever, but his family, and they say, hey, listen, you got to get back into this tournament. If it means that we're not like technically real or whatever, you can make this world real if you win the tournament. And Batman kind of remembers that that's what he's fighting for this whole time, is like, that's why he's Batman, is to, get the world into a place where it doesn't potentially need Batman anymore. That's kind of like the goal. So yeah. And then, it kind of has a fun fight scene, him and Damian. And then it gets, the Heart of Apocalypse, he pulls Batman back in to the tournament essentially. And we know that it was training me to win, right? So Batman is going to be rejoining the DCKO tournament it looks like it's gonna be, yeah, DCKO number 4. So this one also leads right into DCKO number 4, and I guess that's what I would say is like just the overall like the structure of DCKO. I'm just having a ton of fun with it. The fact that it's sort of like all planned out, and the way that they plotted everything, it leads into everything. It's just like a well constructed and well designed event. It doesn't feel like, you know, like even though it's not necessary that you go out and read DCKO Nightfight, those that do, you have a lot of you know, a lot of pluses going into issue 4 if you have read it, right? So if that makes sense, I think that all the tie-ins, it sort of make sense, and they don't feel so worthless as other DC events tie-ins kind of do, have the tendency to do. Let's continue with the comic book reviews. We got Nice House by the Sea, issue number 7. I was a little bit worried going into this one that I wouldn't remember what happened in issues number 1 through 6, or honestly what happened in the previous volume, Nice House by the Nice House on the Lake. Yeah, by the Sea, Nice House on the Lake. So, but that is to say, I wasn't confused at all. I kind of all came back to me. I sort of remembered the situation we were in. Essentially, right, you have 12 people that know each other in the first volume, but in the second volume, we find out that there are other houses out there, and they're all kind of competing to see who can like be the perfect sort of mini society kind of thing, right? And the other house is filled with, you know, geniuses, like the super, like people that are the best in their field. And it turns out that this other house, they want to be the last one standing. So they're going to go into the original house and potentially like, you know, kill all the people, right? So taking this kind of dark turn. And yeah, so that's kind of the situation we find ourselves in. Some of the people from the original first house are realizing that this is going to take place. These other people are going to come into their universe or whatever and sort of just try to kill them all. So they go back into, they're teaming up with one of the people from the second house. This isn't making sense. Trust me when I say that it's really good stuff though. Nice House by the Sea. It's just great character writing from James Tynion IV. Just a super unique sort of concept, and Alvaro Martinez Bueno in the art. I mean, you guys were seeing as I was flipping. You get crazy, whacked out stuff like this with the coloring from Jordi Belair. Like this stuff is insane, bro. Like some of the craziest sequences of all time are in this comic from Alvaro Martinez Bueno and Jordi Belair. Just the top of their game, both in interior art and then on the coloring. But yeah, just a very interesting sort of slow burn of a series. Like we'll have to see it all crumbling down. Also though, if you're into body horror, let me flip to this one part. Yeah, this guy. So he is from the second house. He's like one of the villains of the story essentially, and he is starting to realize like how this world works, and it gets really body horror as he's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I have more arms, right? I could get a lot more sciencey stuff done if I had more arms. It's like, yeah, dude, but you look like a freak. So yeah, anyways, Nice House by the Sea. So glad that it's back. Technically a DC Vertigo title. James Tynion IV, Alvaro Martinez Bueno, just killing it. Loving that series a whole lot. Let's talk about Batgirl number 16 real quick. The last 3 we'll get through quickly because we have Endgame, we have Ultimate Wolverine, and then we got Batgirl. So this Batgirl 16 was the last one of the arc. So really nice way they closed out the arc. I was wondering what Tate Brown was going to be giving us to close out this one. We had some really great stuff from Miyazawa on the pencils and the inks. And yeah, I thought that this one wrapped up beautifully, right? Like this whole arc, I wasn't kind of sure where they were going. It turns out that Batgirl was unknowingly helping one of the Al Ghul daughters, like Talia's sister, I think is who this girl is. She was trying to sort of trick all of the unburied, the people in the blue, is like this enemy sort of clan that's going on. She was trying to trick the unburied into coming into their little area, and then she was gonna gun them all down with these turrets, right? And by doing that, you would essentially like grow these super powerful like plants, essentially. And so she wants these super powerful plants because as an Al Ghul, she's hundreds and hundreds of years old or whatever, and she needs that to kind of sustain herself and sustain the League of Shadows organization, as she wants to control those plants. So Batgirl decides, hey, you know what? I'm gonna foil that plan. No one's really gonna die on my watch. So she goes, you know, they go and destroy the turrets. She saves her brother. Everything gets wrapped up very nicely, right? So yeah, I guess I would say like not as much action as you would assume from an arc ender like this. It kind of gets to the point where Batgirl, like, she doesn't want to hurt anybody almost. Like, both sides are kind of in the wrong, right? So she's just going to try to make sure that nobody dies. And she just focuses destroying the turrets, stopping the Al Ghul from, committing this the slaughter of these people, the unburied people. So, yeah. And then the way it wraps up, I guess the way I took it was this area that the Al Ghul was living in, it's kind of getting reclaimed by these unburied people who technically were living there first, and the flowers are growing. It looks like things are kind of going back to normal for this group, but Batgirl says it's time to go home. So we know that in the next issue that she's going to be going back to Gotham, and I'm hoping that with that, Tate Bromwell can bring the series back to its peak, man, because that first arc was so good. It was so good, man, and I think that we've kind of taken a little bit of a step down, but I think that Tate Bromwell can bring it right back up at any point, and we're hoping that he does it with the next issue. Now, very quickly, let's talk about Ultimate Endgame issue number 2. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of like out of it with the Endgame stuff or the Ultimate Universe. I'm kind of just going through the motions, kind of just waiting for it to end. So we know that, like, I don't know, we know that the Maker is like the whole city or whatever now, and they still have him trapped in the city. The whole thing was I thought he was going to get out, but he's not out yet. And then the rest of the Ultimate people are in the city, and they're kind of just discussing what to do, right? I don't know, man. It's kind of turning into a big mess. Like, the whole Ultimate Endgame event, it's kind of turning into soup, in my opinion. Like, I have a harder time explaining what's going on here than I do with DCKO, which sounds insane because DCKO is like, if you get really into it, you can get kind of off the wall. But this Endgame stuff, I'm just like, it's like whatever, man. Like, it ends in a place where they're still kind of in the city. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say about it. And the art is like okay too. Like, this Ultimate Endgame, the art in here is not like doing it totally for me necessarily. I like the dots and stuff, but I just don't really like it here in the Ultimate Endgame side of things. You know what I thought was a better issue though? Was Ultimate Wolverine issue 14. This was cool because we have Cappuccio on the art. This really was like what was kind of promised, right? When I tell you a year and a half ago or whatever that they're doing Ultimate Wolverine, we got Chris Condon writing and Cappuccio on the art. This is kind of like that final, like, Cappuccio and Condon kind of coming into their own, writing like a kick-ass just Ultimate Wolverine series where Wolverine is fully the Wolverine that we know and love, kind of, right? Obviously with the Ultimate Universe twist and stuff like that, the changes to the character, but for the most part, he finally is like the Logan we know. So that was really cool seeing him, tearing it up. I mean, a lot of action as you guys are seeing as I flip it through. Cappuccio's art is just so beautiful here. Really, really cool stuff. Like, we're hoping Cappuccio, you need Cappuccio on an ongoing title. Like, when this ends, you got to get Cappuccio back on something Marvel because it's just beautiful stuff. And yeah, Wolverine just fights this lady, goes on for quite a long time. The kind of end bit here was interesting as this version of the Phoenix tries to like read the mind of this character here. It's sort of like a cyborg android thing going on. And so yeah, that's kind of where it leaves us. I don't really know necessarily like how this ties into the end game of it all. Like, is Ultimate Wolverine gonna finally join the rest of the end game crew or something to stop the Maker? I'm not sure, but I thought that this was a really great issue. Finally seeing Chris Condon and Cappuccio like hit that peak that we know that they could when the series was first announced. Sucks that it took 14 issues to get there, I guess I will say. But yeah, those are all the stuff that I wanted to review for you guys. The stuff that came out for February 4th, new comic book day. I would say that the best thing that I read the whole week, probably Absolute Superman. I thought this was a great issue. I was really surprised by Absolute Batman as well. And then we had some great DCKO times as well with Knightfight and DCKO Boss Battle. It was pretty fun too. But yeah, that's what we got New comic book day. Let me know what your favorite thing is that I reviewed down in the comments while you're down there. Like if you like, subbed if you love, and if you really like, you can hype it. Hyping really helps out the channel. Shout out to everybody for joining me for New Comic Book Weekly. If you guys didn't know, New Comic Book Weekly is a live show I do every single Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We do the comic book pull list, we talk about the reviews, and then we do a random like big topic. I just pick something like the day of recording, and I just try to see what's going on in the comic book world. And yeah, love talking about all the comic book stuff live with you guys. You could join me live for next week's New Comic Book Weekly. You could be joining me like Tommy B, Chris Collects, Paul Dev, Mikey J, Nick Loss in the chat, Derek Seaborn, of course, man. Thank you everybody for coming out.